Hello, this is Aaron Claiborne with Wisconsin Voices for Recovery. Today I have Megan with me to share their experience about stigma. How you doing, Megan?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. Now I'd like to ask you, um, why does stigma have such a negative influence on people who are battling substance use disorder when they're seeking treatment?
When in my experience, I feel that the stigma is still surrounding the barriers to treatment. So there's different things that go into when you try to get into treatment. In my experience, that was getting medically cleared, going to an inpatient center, and even just in general, like I had no education on what like that addiction and alcoholism was like an actual disease and like what that meant, and even being treated for it at like when I went to like, the doctor's office or whatever, getting kind of, I saw my chart one day and I saw that I was flagged in the system that I had a substance abuse disorder. And ever since then it kind of felt little difficult for me to bring that up because I wasn't there yet. And because they just kind of slapped that label on me, it felt as though um, like they didn't educate me on it. They didn't bring it up. They just put it in their minds. Like when I would go to the doctor that, this is an addict, but they didn't, educate me on the disease the disease I have, the disorder I have. So when I initially tried going into treatment, I would go to the ER, because of the difficulties with withdrawal and everything. I think that there's still a huge negative influence around like people getting clean. People are like, why don't you just, quit? Why don't you just stop? But in my experience, I feel that if you're having those physical withdrawals, it's even harder for you to get clean. So it kind of like I try to go to the ER and they tell me, like we don't have room for you, or we don't have the expertise, or I just get plain treated differently. So definitely more difficult for me to even get to the point of rehab or any type of knowing the resources that were out there to in order to get clean.
Yeah, definitely. That can be very stigmatizing, like you treat me as if I'm not a patient. I'm here for my disorder. I'm here to get better. That's what you're supposed to help me do. And you don't have time for me. That's very stigmatizing. So, you know, moving forward, like I don't want to present that to anyone because I've been treated in such a way that it stigmatized me. So I don't want that to be known. And I mean that happens in all aspects, medical, um, the housing um, market and all sorts of um, arenas when you have this substance use disorder and you're seeking that
Right.
treatment. Thank you. All right, now I'd like to ask you, how does stigma against people perpetuate substance use disorder?
So I think that kind of goes hand in hand with what I was talking about with the last question. Is it's almost for me it was like a cycle of kind of going in and out of like the ER, because I'm like, especially like growing up, like there was this like almost generational like barrier to even discussing what addiction was. We weren't really educated about it in school. Like we were just told, drugs were bad, stay away from them. But I didn't even learn until after treatment how the brain works and how like the reward system changes once you put that drug into your body and all the other things that go along with it. So without me having that knowledge, and all of a sudden I'm in this cycle of addiction where all of these awful things are coming out of, that come with it. I think that people start treating you differently because they don't see the disease as any other disease. They wouldn't treat someone like that, but because we can kind of do a little bit like uglier actions, I feel, stemming from the disease, lying and stealing to get more money or whatever it may be. there's more and more stigma around that because it's just we did those, those bad things, but it's hard to separate the person from like the symptoms of the disease. And so I was stuck in that cycle, making it harder and harder for me to break out of it because I had no idea on where to even start. So those physical symptoms of withdrawal would just send me back to using every single time because I didn't want to feel like that. I could want to get sober all I wanted, but those physical symptoms would just send me spiraling.
Yeah, I get it. That's right. That'll definitely lead you back out. I mean, I can say the same. I mean, I agree with you. I've experienced those things as well. Um, I, while you were speaking so eloquently, I was thinking, how they say, stay away from drugs, they're bad. But then at the same time, it's like stay away from people who
Mhm.
use drugs. So you're defeating the purpose totally. Yeah, a person can tell you stay away from drugs, they're bad. They'll make you do bad things, but not with the realization that a person who has these, issues with addiction, like they can be helped, and you know what the issue is because the drugs cause that problem. Thank you so much, Megan. I don't want to monopolize
Yeah.
all of the conversation, but I feel the passion in you, and I'm the same way. So, is there anything else you'd like to share with
Mm.
our audience in our last minute or so?
I would just want to say, the stigma can just end with asking questions. We don't have to make it as hard to talk about. We can end that curse that we have of this is a taboo topic by just, asking questions. Anyone in recovery gets really passionate about that. But anyways, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. It was a pleasure speaking with you. I appreciate it a lot, and I'm sure our viewers will as well. Thank you, everybody. Please check back with Wisconsin Voices for Recovery on Facebook for more stigma interviews. Have a great day. Thanks, Megan.
Thank you.